Black Isle Studios and newcomer Snowblind have finally brought the awesome Baldur's Gate series to the PS2. Dark Alliance isn't just a port of one of the PC games though. This is a whole new experience specifically for the console owner. And what an experience it is. Every ounce of power is dragged out of the PS2's graphics, with spectacular effects such as real-time ripples in the water, accurate enough to spot invisible monsters, massive particle-driven explosions, and even causing the barrels to fall apart according to the physics of the moment, rather than any predetermined animation. The attention to detail is fantastic, with minimal slowdown, crowded and realistic scenery, and perfect anti-aliasing. Gameplay is reminiscent of Diablo, which is no bad thing. There are lots of spells, monsters, and a rich storyline to keep you addicted to this game for some time. With spectacular lighting, realistic and fully detailed characters to meet, and incredibly short load times, what more could you ask for? Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is shaping up to be an extremely impressive title. The Resident Evil series has always been one of the more popular titles for the PlayStation, and there was some disappointment when Code Veronica was released just on the Dreamcast. But now it's back and better than ever, with key enhancements over the original. This is like the director's cut of the game, featuring additional scripts, expansions on various plot elements, and much more besides. The plot is centred on Claire Redfield, having survived the horrific onslaught in Raccoon City, as seen in Resident Evil 2. She is now in Europe, following some new clues regarding the whereabouts of her missing brother Chris and the insidious activities of the Umbrella Corporation. Once inside their remote lab, she discovers that her terrifying ordeal is far from over. She is soon captured and sent to an isolated prison on a desolate island. It is here that she must find Chris, hero of the original game, and seek the truth behind the dreaded Umbrella biotoxins. This revised version provides several improvements over the original Dreamcast version. The storylines of numerous characters have been reworked, particularly the treacherous Albert Wesker, who joined the bad guys in the first Resident Evil game. His story no longer leaves things up in the air, and numerous other loose ends are tied up. You'll also be pleased to hear that there has been some serious consideration given to the viewing angles provided in the game. One of the most recognisable features of the Resident Evil series is its dramatic fixed camera angles. These views have been known to cause all manner of problems when you get into a fight at the edge of the scene. So in this version, they have thought long and hard about how best to show the action. You'll be treated to new views panning across, following your character, or nerve-wracking moments when Claire finds herself wandering off into the distance. More plot, more visuals, and more Resident Evil. What more could you ask for? ATV Off-Road Fury is a quad bike racing game where snow-covered mountains, deserts and muddy flats form the setting for some of the most treacherous conditions that 2- and 4-stroke racing has to offer. Learning to take the racing line through the air is just as important as it is on the ground, and once you've chosen an ATV from the initial selection, the training mode helps you to find form. The enduro and freestyle courses in stunt competitions and cross-country modes offer you the chance to exploit some of the most extreme off-road features. With a choice of 16 stunts to perform, pulling off moves like heart attack, heel clicker and tail grab soon racks you up some points, but watch your landing as hazardous objects litter the scenery. Pro Career mode is the main mode of play, and victories here unlock new courses and ATVs. And if that's not enough, then a multiplayer option can support up to 4 players, and it's excellent fun. Witnessing the highly amusing crashes is worth the price of admission alone. ATV Off-Road Fury looks set to impress with its extremely realistic handling and 3D racing environments. The competition courses provide fast, furious race action. Have made survival horror pretty much their own. But after 4 PS1 Resident Evil games, including the light gun Resident Evil Survivor, the mixture is in need of a fresh stir. Code Veronica X is giving things a healthy twist, with fully 3D graphics and dynamic cameras, while Onimusha Warlords keep the pre-rendered backgrounds but front up with a whole new setting, astonishing animations, and a greater emphasis on action. Devil May Cry, the third in Capcom's grotesque collection, goes even further. The game's hero is Dante, a man of unusual ancestry and distinct predilection for the trappings of Gotham. Dante has various ways of dispatching the unquiet spirits that he meets. The principal constitutes of which are frankly enormous swords and a pair of silver pistols. In keeping with the fast-beating heart of Devil May Cry, each mode of extreme prejudice is accessible with extreme rapidity. Swapping between the 2 types of weapons couldn't be simpler, as there's no need to trickle through a single menu screen or deselect what you've already got. A key part of making progress is to harvest the souls of the creatures you kill. Occasionally you come across souls just lying around, and some require an acrobatic turn or two to reach. But mostly these glowing purple urns float from disintegrating corpses. Simply running over them collects them, something you need to be doing regularly. The action is kept intense by a loop. You need to slay the constantly respawning enemies to gain health and activate the demonic attacks, which you need to deal with the constantly regenerating enemies. It's possible to clear some places and to have a bit of time to look around, but if you leave and return, they'll be back. Some areas can never be cleared, as weird red circles appear just long enough to give birth to extra lunatics. There's always someone to hunt and kill if you need souls. This host of enemies includes some of the most imaginative and well-realised creatures we've seen. Taking the zombies' role as slow, stupid hordes are some bizarre puppet monsters. These 7-foot-tall freaks hang or slump around looking fairly harmless. Once animated, they're a problem, especially in packs. Etch this title into your soul. It's going to be big.
You! It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
Huh? Are you blind or something?
What's that letter?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
Wait! How do you know Mary's name?
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful.
Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But
Yes?
Please promise you'll take me again, James.
this town, there's something wrong with it.
Mary? No, you're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it. You could be her twin. Your face, your voice, just your hair and clothes are different.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I?
Is it dangerous? I'm looking for someone. Eddie, be careful.
James, you be careful too.
Anyway! What do you mean, anyway? You don't sound very happy to see me. I was almost killed back there.
Killing a person ain't no big deal.
Didn't you say she died?
Did a little girl run out of here?
Yeah, she was too fast for me. Aren't you gonna go after her?
Lost?
Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Oh, it's you.
I was friends with Mary. We met at the hospital. It was last year.
You liar! Ow!
Why didn't you try to save me? I've never been so scared in my whole life. Less about you.
You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place.
PS2 has found itself somewhat devoid of platform games, with only the gorgeous Rayman Revolution offering any real presence. But that is all about to change as the sequel to Klonoa makes its way into the limelight. Klonoa 2 follows the adventures of our cute and lovable hero, after whom the game is named. He makes his way through this quasi-3D world, making the most of his magic ring. The ring gives him the power to grab his enemies and use them for his own benefit. Rather than just jumping on the heads of his opponents, Klonoa can always find a use for the opposition, be it improving his leaping prowess or gaining special benefits like flight. The scenery is rather spectacular, as you can see, with the camera providing a 3D effect, even though the game is still primarily a 2D platformer. You can happily bound along the trails and pathways, searching out the alternate routes, while still being lulled into the illusion of a fully 3D world. The gameplay consists mainly of beating your way through the monsters and then applying their dazed forms to solve the many puzzles that bar your way. The puzzles themselves are a challenge, causing you to work your mind more than the average arcade game, but fail to become really irritating. You'll soon find that a bit of thought will provide the answer. If you have a giant Venus flytrap blocking your way, then just grab some wayward monster and lob him into a sticky demise. Whilst the plant is enjoying its meal, you can bop on with the next stage. This pattern is occasionally broken up with some alternate playing styles, like having to surf your way through the level. It may not quite match up to SSX or Cool Borders, but with those monsters coming straight at you, it can be just as exciting. The controls are nice and straightforward, allowing you to get right on with playing the game, rather than having to master a heap of complicated moves before getting anywhere. This is typical of the touches that make Klonoa 2 a joy to play. So grab your magic ring and bounce into action. The long-awaited Formula 1 2000 has finally made it here, albeit as Formula 1 2001. So what took it so long, and what do we get for our patience? Well, as an officially licensed game, you get all the touches you'd expect. All of the drivers, tracks and teams, apparently based on last year's results.
We have the first light lit! The four's lit, we're almost there!
But the thing that took the time was the detail put into the handling of the cars themselves. As you would hope, the cars behave in exactly the way you'd expect. Now you can, with a bit of skill, bring your car gliding around those corners.
You can't keep doing this.
Rather than just throwing it into a spin that leaves you staring at the oncoming pack. There are all sorts of nice touches that have been included in the control system. There is a very realistic understeer heading towards the downhill corners, frequent but not fatal, rear-wheel breakaways, and a great feeling that you do actually have 800 horsepower at your fingertips that a lot of F1 games miss. Other touches, such as the need to start from neutral when the car stalls, and the slight pause after unpausing the game to give you the chance to prepare, are all indicative of the attention to detail that makes this game so special. Besides the handling, you also get some fantastic visuals, as you can see. The action is very fast and smooth, with almost no slowdown. Only really showing any strain when the road is wet or with a full field.
And the sun is shining all round the circuit.
There's no pop-up, no fog, dust and pebbles fly. Grass and dirt stain the tyres, it's all there.
Into the gravel track goes Heinz Harold Frentzen.
No!
And the weather system is spectacular. It can rain on one part of the track whilst remaining dry in others.
And there was definite contact with Rubens Barrichello.
The sky darkens and brightens as appropriate, and your car's grip will change accordingly. What's more, the crashes can be amazing. Nudging another car causes damage to both cars, leaving parts strewn across the roadway. But plough headlong into the fence, and your car will disintegrate into 1,000 pieces, scattering all over the place. That's worth watching the replays for, if nothing else. But be careful. If you keep knocking chunks out of your car, then don't be surprised when the handling deteriorates to the point of being impossible to manage. So, if you're into all the excitement of Formula One and want all the thrills and spills out of the race, accompanied by some glorious graphics and addictive gameplay, then Formula One 2001 could be just the experience you're looking for. It's the first PS2 title we're giving 10 out of 10, and that should tell you something, namely that this is unmissable.
It's time to get crazy. That's right, we got crazy cool music and crazy cool driving when you push the start button. So come on, let's go. Crazy Taxi. Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go.
Taxi! Wait, you have to pick me up.
Hop in.
Take me to the original Levi's shop.
One of the most popular games produced by Sega for their Dreamcast console was Crazy Taxi. And now, thanks to Sega's decision to support PS2, this popular title is arriving to dazzle the new console with its addictive gameplay and crazy antics. The objectives are very straightforward. Get your taxi, find a passenger, and then bomb across the city to your drop points, rinse and repeat. It sounds simple, even repetitive and dull, but once you get started it becomes very addictive.
Serious speed!
You have a choice of 4 cabbies to put through their paces.
Gus!
Okay, let's have some fun.
Axel.
All right, let's get it on.
Gina.
Okay, let's play it cool.
BD Joe.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go.
Come on, get in.
Thanks. Take me to the original Levi's shop.
Then, once you're up and running, you can try and master some of the nifty moves to help take those seconds off your journey time.
Yeah. Woohoo! Let's go.
Crazy Drift assists power sliding around corners.
Look straight, baby.
All right.
Crazy Dash will help to get you that extra burst of speed. And Crazy Jumps gets you soaring over less reckless motorists. Learn to combine these in interesting ways, and you'll soon be streets ahead of the competition.
See you soon. Close enough.
You thanks. Stop driving, honey. Okay, we're gonna fly.
Obviously, real taxi drivers will be totally out of their depths with this concept of taking the quickest route at all costs. But it still requires a godlike knowledge of every twist and turn of this colourful city to become the king of the road. The PS2 version is also bringing with it an original rocking soundtrack, provided by US pop-punk band The Offspring.
No problem. Bye.
It's a perfect match for the exhilarating gameplay, and will keep you pounding down the streets late into the night.
You're tough enough. Let's go.
Hey, what? Get me out of here.
Okay, you ready?
Crazy Taxi!
Kurt Hectic never wanted to be a hero. He was content with his life and wanted to live out his years in quiet, dignified anonymity. Sadly, it was not to be. Kurt was employed as a janitor for Dr. Fluke Hawkins, eccentric man of science. All was peaceful until the invasion. Aliens from a strange dimension attacked the Earth. Dr. Hawkins had to act. Kurt was outfitted in an untested coil suit and sent to try and disable the machines. There he challenged the alien leader, a grotesque creature named Gunter Glatt, and with Max's aid, Kurt was victorious. As their leader fell, the invasion crumbled and the aliens retreated, their tails between their legs. And now, with the aliens routed and order restored, our heroes can return to their normal everyday lives. Or can they? Only time will tell.
Come toast, Kurt. You've done well. Everything's Jake for sure. Yeah. Well, whatever.
It's been around the PC and the Dreamcast, but finally, after only a year, it has made its way onto Sony's console. What's more though, it brings with it a whole host of new upgrades, hence the revised title Armageddon. Primarily, it is identical to its predecessors, providing a humorous and brutal story following the exploits of Kurt Hectic, Max the Dog, and Dr. Fluke Hawkins. They've listened to all the gripes and moans and turned their attention to cleaning up the game's failings. Has it worked? Well, kind of. There are now a range of difficulty levels, ranging through easy, medium, difficult, and the Scooby-Doo-esque yikes. You'll also find that some of the jumps have been simplified. Beams have been widened, and some of the more obscure platforms and ledges now get blatantly pointed out to you. Is this a good thing? Well, it does make things a little easy at times. On the other hand, there were numerous complaints about how hard it was before. Sometimes you just can't win. There's also a wide variety of control methods to pick between, allowing you to tweak the controls to your satisfaction. These orientate primarily around the now mandatory time splitters method, but there are lots of other options available. The story picks up moments after the end of the original MDK, with Kurt Hectic bounding into action to fight the new menace to Earth. His skills involve the use of the coil suit, allowing him a great deal of 3D movement, and also his aptitude for sniping. And so, when Kurt finds himself in a tight spot, it's time for Max the Dog to go to work. Max is the robotic invention of Dr. Hawkins, complete with 4 arms and a psychotic temperament. His levels tend to be much more bloody, with wave after wave of opponents giving him the problem of picking who to shoot first. But eventually, even Max gets into trouble.
We could destroy their power supply so they stop jamming us. No, I have a better plan. You should destroy their power supply so they stop jamming us. High-low surplus.
Then it's the turn of Dr. Fluke Hawkins himself. The Doctor has a much more relaxed approach to fighting the enemy. His levels are much more concerned with navigating puzzles and gathering bizarre junk to turn into useful items. Sadly, most of the puzzles are totally confounding, and the control system makes combining objects a real challenge. So if you can tolerate wildly varying difficulty levels and an often childish sense of humour, along with infrequent save points, although more than the original versions offered, then this may be the game you're looking for. Packed with plenty of monsters to blast, and 3 different styles of play, there is plenty to keep you interested in this quirky B-movie experience. The Army Men are set to launch an airstrike on the PS2 with the sequel to last year's PlayStation title, featuring a whole host of new upgrades thanks to the PS2's graphical muscle. Full-screen anti-aliasing and volumetric shadows, along with a customised terrain texturing system, means that there is a lot more to each of the levels, giving them a smoother, organic look. You can follow through the story on your own or with a partner, and for the more aggressive, there's also a head-to-head option. Pick from 5 different helicopters, each with unique physics and abilities. You can also uncover more vehicles and capabilities through an in-game plastic collection system.
Get ready, fight!
Once more, you're required to take to the ring and show what you're made of. In the style of Tekken Tag or Dead or Alive 2, you get the chance to take your more than normal combatant and beat the bejesus out of your challengers. This time there's an added twist. All the warriors are shapeshifters. From Alice's lovable bunny to Yugo's horrifying werewolf, Usuzima's invisible chameleon shape to Bakuryu's surprisingly dangerous mole man, not to mention the bizarre unborn from Zion and Jenny's very popular bat form. There's nothing like suddenly changing into a vicious beast and watching your feeble punches suddenly evolve into a lethal barrage of teeth and claws. This is no picnic for these teddy bears. Fur Fighters introduce you to a small crowd of sociopathic toys who are out to save their children from the Toy Town forces of the evil General Vigo. Each of these little critters has their own special moves. Bungalow the kangaroo is a great jumper, for instance, and Rico the penguin is the team swimmer. To get through the level, you'll have to use the walk points and change hero regularly to overcome each new obstacle. With a control system reminiscent of Time Splitters, a fantastic multiplayer deathmatch option, and a cruel sense of humour, there's lots of fun to be had with these toys. Greatest Striker comes in with a unique control system, allowing the game to be mastered by the newest of novices, but then upping the challenge to keep things interesting for the pro.
Shoot! Brilliant one-handed save by the keeper.
To begin with, you only need to select one button to decide which type of shot to take. But as your skills develop, the advanced setting allows you to perform any sort of move imaginable. It also features a world ranking mode that grades your play on different factors, such as how effective your tackles are and how many passes are successfully completed. You can then upload this information onto the internet to be compared to players throughout the world. This collaboration between Ubisoft and Disney is an attempt to bring the dance crazy that has dominated Japan to the West. Here you get the chance to take Mowgli through the story of the Jungle Book, dancing all the way. With songs like Bare Necessities and Lou Bega version of I Wanna Be Like You, you really can't go wrong.
Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering.
But if Mowgli's not exciting enough for you, then you can try out the multiplayer option and take to the dance floor with any of the other main characters. Play as Baloo, King Louie, Kaa, or any of your other favourites.
The simple bare necessity. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities of Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life.
Solid Snake's return to action has been praised as the best game to arrive on the PS2. And it's not surprising, considering the depth of detail that has been included in this great sequel. Snake can now interact with his surroundings to an extent never seen before, checking out every corner in search of a clue or whatever. With a variety of settings to pass through, including this impressive ship, he'll have to face all manner of opponents, and the AI behind these adversaries is impressive to say the least, providing Snake with the greatest challenge yet in his glorious history. Laden with overtaking excitement, MotoGP brings the 500cc class racing scene to the PS2. With a highly tunable selection of bikes available, MotoGP provides a welcome break from cars with fantastic graphics and great handling too. Once you've learnt all the twists and turns that the championship courses have to offer, you can tone down the handling assist to get a more authentic feel of the controls. With a variety of modes to compete in, this super-powered racer will lead you into the first corner with no doubts about the sheer quality on offer. Tired of only getting to play basketball professionally? Well, here's the game that brings it back to the people. Join the gang in any one of a number of courts from Boston to LA, each with their own distinctive atmosphere and weather effects. Another feature NBA Streets brings is a momentum meter. This special meter increases as you perform various fancy moves, fake crossovers, behind-the-back moves and many more, all realistically portrayed from the motion-captured footage. Fill the momentum meter, and every point you score adds 1 to your total and subtracts 1 from your opponent's score. So now you have a reason to show off. This could be the best football game for the PS2. It looks, feels and plays better than any other soccer title. Besides the gorgeous graphics, you can expect to find the best football simulator known to man. With no guaranteed scoring spots, no lobs from the halfway line, and no simple-headed crosses finding the back of the net, you'll have to build up the play through a series of intelligent passes, 1-2s and defence-splitting through balls. Only then will you find yourself a goal-scoring opportunity. Winning 11-5 is the only working title of this spectacular game from the makers of ISS Games, Konami. But whatever, it's going to be big. Star Wars Super Bombad Racing provides light-hearted kart racing action with humorous looks and gameplay. Players have the chance to compete as different characters from the saga, including Darth Maul, Master Yoda and Boss Nass. The circuits are based on the famous Star Wars backdrops, like the desert wastes of Tatooine and the swamps of Naboo. With each character bringing their own style of racing to the scene. 4 modes of racing are on offer, and with 25 different gadgets to make use of, the possibilities for dishing out the dark side are endless.
Get their orders from those receiver stations around the rim. We must destroy those receiver stations first.
The story to Star Wars Starfighter is set parallel to the events of Episode 1 and allows you to take control of a range of craft competing against the evil Trade Federation. As the game progresses, you get to take control of 3 new characters whose stories come together throughout the stages. The levels themselves take place in space or skimming over the surface of a planet, trying to complete various objectives, such as escorting, salvaging, or just wiping out everything that moves. You may find there isn't really much of the Star Wars atmosphere here, but there's definitely a good space combat system under the theme.
We don't take out that gate of the tunnel.
The latest rescue helicopter simulation in the style of Pilot Wings. That is to say that the emphasis is on precision and patience rather than immediate action. As the pilot of the helicopter, your job is to carefully deposit yourself over a particular point and lower your winch to grab or move an object. This requires a great deal of skill, trial and error, and minor course corrections. The levels are large, which can unfortunately be a bit of a disadvantage when you have to cross from one side to the other in a rather slow chopper. Prepare yourself for the best first-person shooter port from the PC. After the disappointment of Unreal, no one could be blamed for being wary of what would happen to the legendary Quake. But it has made the transition surprisingly well. Quake 3 Revolution has had to modify some of the features of the PC version to make things work. The controls are designed along the time splitter system, making use of both analog controls, and the levels have to be modified to take this into account. You'll also find that some of the Team Arena expansion pack features have made their way into the PS2 version, along with an enhanced single-player mode. The Paris-Dakar Rally famously pits top drivers against each other in a grueling race over 6,500 miles. Participants race a variety of mixed-terrain vehicles, including motorcycles, off-road 4x4 trucks, and rally cars, as they battle against the most severe rallying conditions. This is the first time this spectacular event has been developed as a game, and it comes with everything you'd expect. A realistic physics engine, stunning environment and climate conditions, and a variety of innovative game modes. With a variety of routes to the finish, make your way to Egypt and declare yourself the winner. The year is 1560, and there's civil war in feudal Japan, dominated by Nobunaga Oda, the ruthless warlord who came within a hair's breadth of unifying the country. Onimusha ties his historical details into its own storyline, concerning a girl and an altruistic warrior. Owing a lot to the Resident Evil legacy, the survival horror premise works well, deep within Japan's past. You'll also find there are a number of other nice features, like an exceptional weapon-based upgrade and combat system, an exquisite set of visuals previously not seen on the PS2, and a truly dramatic orchestral soundtrack.
By the hand of a human!
Be quiet, monster. It is time for you to go back to the underworld.